welcome everyone to another episode of Ty's Take. Now, before I get into all of the other intro stuff, this is our 10th episode. So,
Yeah.
celebrate, I invited a special guest that Ty doesn't know about. This is Bastian, the Bavarian Fest Bear. And he's come on today just to yodel for us to celebrate this 10th episode. He's going to yodel. So I think I'm going to put him a little closer to the speaker, but say hello to Bastian. And he's going to yodel us in. I thought this would be special. I love the ending. Thank you, Bastian. Appreciate it. That was Bastian, the Bavarian Fest Bear, everyone. He may come on in future episodes, but I wanted to leave him a surprise. So
I would like to start off this episode.
Okay, we're going to let you have the floor, Ty. You have the floor.
Okay, so this is Dave, the head of Corey Sons. I'm Ty Rode. So we have, it seems to me like where we are right now in our space age, right? Getting into space.
Yeah.
And where we're trying to be. It kind of feels like a marathon. What would you say on that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does, because we have such a long way to go. I mean, we have a long way to go. In fact, there really is no end if you really think about it. Even if we get on Mars, where do we go next? You know, eventually the stars, right? You know, I mean, that's like a lot longer out there, a lot further away, but eventually we will go to the stars. Eventually we will go to other planets. So it is a marathon of marathons when you really think about it. But I don't think that analogy exactly applies in this case, only because a marathon tends to be something that you kind of just move very slowly towards a final goal. You know, when you're running a marathon, that's a long race here on Earth. I think what we're doing is more of a relay race, which are also long. Relay races can be long, but those are cooperative races where each individual runner is moving flat out as fast as they can. But because you can't go flat out till the end of the finish line when you're going like the length of a marathon, when you do a relay race, you do your part as fast as you can and as well as you can, and then you hand it off, and then the next person goes, and then the next person goes, and the next person. So I think we could apply, rather than a marathon, even though this is going to be a very, very long, our space is going to be part of our future from here on out, basically. There's not going to be some end like, okay, did it, we're done, space is done, check that off.
Right.
You know, we're going to be working up. We are spacefaring now, and we are going to be doing space. So I would say, yes, it's kind of like a marathon, but it's really more of a relay race where everybody's moving fast.
Okay, like teamwork. So then what should each of us be doing?
So many things. The most fundamental thing, and the thing that we really promote here at 40 Sons, is just stay interested. You know, it's amazing. Imagine a football game when nobody showed up to the stands. You know, nobody was there. Football team is still going to play. They're still going to have a game, and they'll still, you know, make scores and get things done or whatever. But it's just not the same if there aren't people there supporting it and really promoting it. And honestly, if there aren't people there being fans, eventually they're not going to play games anymore because they're not really going to be able to afford to, you know. So space needs fans. In the same way sports needs fans, space needs fans. That's the basic foundation that we can all be doing. We can all be paying more attention to what's going on in space. If everybody was doing that, then some of us, some small percentage of us, would get involved in some capacity. And if more of us are getting involved, then more things are getting done. And it's like an upward spiral, you know. One thing builds upon the next, builds upon the next, builds upon the next. Right. Be supportive. I think we talked about this in an earlier episode. Be supportive, be kind to your fellow man, talk to others, get engaged,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the most fundamental thing we can all be doing is stay interested, pay attention to what's going on in space, grab a news story. There's plenty of news stories, that space is in the headlines almost every day now. So check the news, see what's going on, talk about it, support it, go to a launch, all those things help.
Okay. And then, what would you say is like the tipping point? At what point would you say there's no more question on the fact that we're in a realm of spacefaring?
That is the $1 million question. That's a very good question. I mean, in a way, we're already there. In a way, we're kind of already over the tipping point in that we've gone to space. We've demonstrated that we can go to space, and we are actively putting things in space. And we're about to send people to space and go to the moon. So I believe our next goal is to work on that rapid progress we've been harping on over the last few episodes, like really push to run that relay race, to make those quick, to make those gains, to not sit back and let it kind of stabilize or just slow down, or God forbid, just kind of get put on a shelf. We'll get to it later. We got too many other things to work on. We'll do space another time. It needs to be part of what we're doing as a society, as a culture, as a planet. And we need to make it part of everything that we're doing every day. And that's really the way we're going to make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and if you don't personally want to be part of that space future, and some of you listening might not, you can still support the people that are. You can still support the people that are doing it. So I think more than anything, at the end of the day, we're not all going to be, and I think we mentioned this too in an earlier episode, we're not all going to be going to space. We're not all going to be doing space, but we can support the people that are. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing all of us can do, is support the people that are working on this. So, yeah.
And so you feel, so there isn't anyone that actually thinks, oh, like, we're not in space. Everyone pretty much knows that.
Yeah.
We're already doing it.
We're there. I mean, that's why, like we mentioned before, we're already a spacefaring civilization. We actually are putting people in space, and we've gone to space. So I guess the first thing is to kind of realize that. And then, okay, now that we are, let's actually put more into it. Let's invest more time and effort, more energy. Let's cooperate more. Let's, go and do space more.
Okay. And how would you say it would ways that people could support that? How could the people who don't really maybe want to get into that directly, how could they support people who do want to do
that? There are, again, there's so many ways and so many things that you could do. A lot of it really has to do with just paying attention, just supporting, just talking about it. That if you have a discussion, if there's a discussion going on constantly about it amongst you and your peers and your friends and your family, and they're talking about it, and there's an old thing, and they tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and they tell two friends, it's like it kind of goes exponentially. So it really begins with each of us. And I guarantee, if you're paying attention to it, if you are talking about it, if you're following it, you will eventually begin to do more. You'll begin to find things to do, ways to get involved, other ways to support it in whatever way that might be. There's so many different ways to support, what's happening in space. So I do truly believe it really just comes down to that. Just comes down to awareness. And awareness is a big thing we do promote with 40 Suns. It's just being more aware. We have a little formula on the website: awareness plus interest equals change. And I do think that formula, it's a very simple formula, but I do think it works. If you're aware of something, you're showing interest in it, you put those two together, it does lead to change. And so that's really all we're saying. That's all we're advocating, is be aware, be interested, change will follow.
It's very inspiring.
Simple formula. Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
So
All right.
so that means just people don't necessarily even have to like regarding like social media or something. People don't even have to like take that for the very small push of like following like NASA or these people that are really doing it. They don't necessarily have to like, oh, I'm gonna watch other videos. Oh, I'm gonna read other things. But even just like discussions, just separately with people in real life. Like, oh no, you saw.
In real life on social media.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, wherever you take that conversation. I mean, can you imagine if everywhere you know, on all your feeds, your various social media feeds, when you were on there, if every so often you were seeing somebody posting, a friend of yours, a connection, somebody in your network posting something about space or the space industry, you know, some launch that had happened, some milestone that was reached. You know, it pervades your awareness, and you start to think more about it. If you're out and, you know, you meet somebody and you're talking with them and you mention something about something in space that recently happened, and they also know that because they're following that, you know, and you guys have a little conversation. That's really all it takes. It's all about community. It's all about building that community. And it's a point of reality. You know, it's a point that we have in common, that you can have in common with these other people that you're talking to. And again, going back to our mission, no matter your differences, you're going to find points of commonality there that you can talk about. When you have something in common, you can have a conversation. When you have a conversation, you can like start to know more about people and get to like them more.
Right.
It's like a self-perpetuating cycle.
Getting to know someone. It's not even having to. You don't even have to talk about it. It's like, oh, there's pollution in space. Even like, oh,
right.
Hi, guy I like. Guess look at the sky. Wow, we all have the sky. That's cool.
Exactly. We all have the sky. That may be the best statement. I think we should start using it somewhere in our promotion. We all have the sky.
We all have the sky.
I love that. It's so true, though. I mean, it's like that's the best encapsulation of everything we're talking about, because
the biggest point of common interest.
Yeah,
we do have the sky.
We do have the sky. We do, and so that is something we should all be looking at, and we should all be talking about. And if we do that, not only do we achieve the sky faster, but
you're not wrong.
Exactly. You know, it isn't. I mean, and then what is the upshot of that? Suddenly, here we all are kind of working together towards something that we have in common. And, you know, what greater purpose than that? So, yeah. Well, thank you, Ty. I appreciate your feedback and your questions. We're going to continue this in more episodes, but we'll end that one for now. And we will see everybody on the next one. Oh, wait, I wanted one more. Let Bastian, the Bavarian fest bearer, present himself and say goodbye. I won't make him yodel again, though.
Goodbye,
Bye, Bastian. Bye, Ty. Bye, everybody.